so streamlined. Murphy, he's a magical teleporting dog. It's Murphy, he's a cute and curly golden demigod. Traveling the universe through space and time. How do you do it? You're key to this crime. Are you here? Are you there? Are you anywhere or everywhere? Murphy, he's a magical teleporting dog. It's Murphy, he's a cute and curly golden demigod. You're such a good dog. You're such a good dog.
The devil's advocates whisper in the hall, where justice wears a mask and truth begins to fall. Every thread they pull, every lie they weave, in the courtroom's dance, who's left to believe? Oh, the devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end. The devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end in sight. A photograph fades where the truth once stood. Blurred lines between the bad and the good. The scales they tilt with every silver tongue, while the broken cry for a song unsung. Black robes sway like shadows on the wall. One wrong word and the mighty fall. Who's a sinner? Who's a saint? The jury's out, but the verdict's faint. Oh, the devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end. The devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end in sight.
All right, everybody, welcome to a Crimes After Dark on a Wednesday night, I believe it is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Wednesday night. And we have a low crew at the moment, but it should get populated a little bit here shortly. I do have Dago with True Crime Cafe backstage. I'll be bringing him up very, very shortly. Robin has had an emergency situation, so she said she would try to be here when she can get here, and I'm not going to talk about her personal situations. She can talk about that when she comes in if she wants. But so we were still waiting on news from that, but I won't share that business on screen until she decides to share that or not. So anyways, she's taking care of some stuff. She seems to be fine, but she's going to be a little bit late. I believe one is going to be here sometime here shortly. I don't know about JJ. I think JJ's night normally would be off, but we do have Dago. So Dago, we'll get him on screen. We'll talk a little bit about what's going on. Let me get him up here. Boo-boo. Hey, Dago, what's up?
What's happening? Good to see you tonight.
Dream.
Welcome back.
All right. Yeah, I thank you. It's good to be back. It's good to try to get into some routines. I'm a little bit behind, but I'm starting to get. In fact, I got new routines I'm starting to make because I want to get more aggressive with my content, and I haven't. So not only am I back, but I'm trying to get back with more vigor, I guess, if you will. So
do what you got to do. I get it. Absolutely.
Yeah. So look, I want to, as a preface for tonight, I want to say. The autopsy document dropped yesterday. It's got a crap ton of details that we've been waiting to see. Now, before we get too far, I'm going to slow build into it because, Dago brought up something, and as soon as he said it, I'm not trying to steal somebody else's idea, but Dago pointed out that, AI can take that autopsy report and build images of where the wounds were on a nondescript, anomalous kind of body that doesn't have their, whatever, and they can show the wounds. And I did that. I thought, man, that's a great idea. Why didn't I think of that? I got AI tools out the ass. So I went and I put the thing in there and I had it generate I got those images, and I think it's worth talking about tonight. However, autopsy reports are important for true crime, for us to understand how the injuries happened, whether or not it was more than one weapon.
Yes.
Those things show up in detail, and Dr. Singh, I believe it's a doctor. I think it's medical examiners are always doctors.
Yeah,
right?
she is.
Yeah. So Dr. Singh, their opinion was that there was single blade and or double bladed weapons used, as well as blunt force trauma. Now, look. They asked, of course, the prosecution asked, is it possible this all could have been done by one weapon? And her opinion was that, sure, it could have been done by one. Even though there's evidence of serrated weapon, a single-bladed weapon, double-bladed weapon, and blunt force trauma. And yet they said, well, could it have been done by one person or by one thing? And she said, it is possible. So that's what they were going with. We're going to present in court that our doctor will say this was all done by one weapon. That's not really what they said. They said there's a scenario in which you could make it happen by one weapon, but likelihood is, in my opinion, extremely low.
It's one of their word salads with bullshit dressing again, because the way that it was presented, the word was, I just had it on the tip of my tongue, but could the K-bar knife be the knife that was used?
Yes.
And she comes back. Her answer to that was, it's the word that I'm looking for starts with a C, and I can't put it out right this second. I just had it. Anyway, it basically, in layman's terms, she said it could be, not meaning it was. It could be is what it means.
Right. And
that's bullshit to me. Sorry.
It's just like you said, it's word salad. They know they have the conclusion they want to reach. And so they said, can you say it could have happened the way we think it happened? Sure. I'll add, in some alternate reality, I can come up with the explanation how anything could have happened.
Exactly.
If I'm clever enough with wording. So
So and here's it. You could have asked the same question and said, could this have been done with a butter knife? And the answer would be, it could be. Okay, if you sharpen the damn thing and you do this to it and you do that to it. Sure. Could it be done with this? It could be. Could it be done with that? Sure, it could be. It doesn't mean that it was. And that's what they tried to make people believe, is that it was done with that. Now, we've also heard testimony recently in an interview from Chris Holland, where he is pointing to the fact that this was done with 4 weapons, folks, that there is and this is an opinion because he's not putting himself out there as an expert, so on and so forth, even though he is, per se. He said the way it was put together was there were 4 profiles, wound profiles, meaning 4 different weapons.
Yeah,
so
and look, and I can list them. As far as the probabilities from the autopsy, a single-edged blade, a double-edged blade, a serrated blade, and blunt force trauma with some other weapon. That's 4 weapons right there. Even recently in an article I just saw, Steve Gonzalez was still saying Christie would like to sit down with Bryan Kohberger and ask him, what other weapon did you use? So they still are admitting they know more than one weapon was used. And to me, that's still 100%. A problem. Yeah,
and
it's still a problem.
I think even last night I heard that there was they asked him what weapons do you believe they were, and he came out with a double-edged blade, dagger,
Yeah, like a dagger.
bayonet. Yeah, those were the 2 words he said. Something that had a rounded end on one end and a pointed end on the other is one of the things he said. So it could be anything, folks. As I told you, I still think that there was a machete used. I truly believe that without a doubt. There could have been a K-bar, but that's probably the last one I believe that I would throw into the list. And if you ask me, because it's 7 inches by 1 3/4 inches, it's the smallest knife that could have been used in this, in my opinion. I'll just say that. So,
And by the way, I want to say I've never been big on this, and and again, I'm easing in. We're going to get some pictures up on some diagrams of what the weapons, what the injuries look like, and we'll talk about it in detail as a panel. And I'm waiting to get the rest of my panel assembled, and I also want to get a little further in so we can give plenty of warnings about what this show is about before we get into it. But it's fun. Like I have always been personally dismissive of a gun was used in this crime. I've always been dismissive of that. Now, you have Bethany, who says she heard something like a firecracker and she saw a flash of light. And I've heard people ask before about what about a taser? And I will say this, a stun gun, you know those stun guns that have the little 2 prongs and it makes that little arc between the 2 of them? I remember being told, I believe it was when we were talking to Christopher Whitcomb about the wounds that were in the autopsy, there were 2 circular wounds that were unusual. And I made some kind of guess about, was it the size? Was it a bullet hole? And they're like, oh no, much, much smaller than that. And I thought, well, could have somebody have used a stun gun, not like the handheld taser ones, when you just kind of zap somebody with it, that could have left 2 little small pin marks of where they got zapped to knock somebody unconscious, to incapacitate somebody. And I almost could go for that. I'm not going for a gun fired in the commission, but I could go for somebody being incapacitated with a stun kind of thing.
Right. Now, and as far as Bethany hearing and seeing that, that's not what I think. If she's telling the truth,
yes,
I have questions now. If I have questions about that now. A stun gun would create a white light, okay, and it would make if you turn a gas stove on, the igniter makes that clicking noise. That's what you would hear. She claims she saw. I think she told Blaker in the interview when he asked the question, what color was this and that? She said orange like fire. Okay, so that's not stun gun.
And right, and here's the problem, Dago. There's several problems, right? One, I'm not 100% convinced. I'm not even 100% convinced that Bethany was there, but and if she was there, I'm not convinced she was downstairs. She could have been in the main room when she saw something. Like at what point do you believe what they say and don't believe what they say when it seems clear they're contradicting themselves, they're saying things that are incorrect, they're changing their story. So at what point do you say, oh, well, I'm going to lock in that she had to have seen it from downstairs and it had to be orange because she said so? Really? What part are you going to accept that she said something that's locked in true, but not something else she said?
You can't. Okay, let me give you for instance real quick. Yesterday I covered the Kennedy Fitzgerald interview. Okay. Wow, was there a nugget in that one? Because we were told that Bethany and Dylan came home. I think was a half hour between each other. Was it 1:40 or something like that, or somewhere in that realm? Okay. And Bethany came 20 minutes later, or a half hour later, something like that. That's fine. Okay. We've been told that like forever. So Kennedy comes out yesterday, does her interview, and states that Dylan showed up at her house at 10:30 that night. Bethany showed up an hour later. That's 11:30. And then she was asked, well, how long were they there? So on and so forth. She goes, oh, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
Well, hold on now. Wait. Okay. 2 or 3 hours. Wow. That's different. And then then she says, then I walked them halfway home and I walked them to the middle of the white apartments, turned around and walked back. And he said, oh, so did they keep going? And then they kind of veered towards the path that takes them. No, they just kept going straight. They walked all the way down the end of Taylor. And I went, okay, there's another piece that's not right. And then they said, how late was it? She goes, I was probably about 2 or 2:30 in the morning. Okay. That completely changes the entire fucking timeline. Think about that. If it's true. We don't know who's true or who's telling the truth and who's lying. We don't know what's right, what's wrong, none of it, because there's so much fuckery in this case, and it's been doing this the whole time. So
Yes.
it's a big problem. It's a big, big problem. Now,
Yeah.
if Kennedy has, if she's telling the truth, then wow, that's all I can say. So it's a big problem, you guys. We need to know
That's the,
absolute truth, period.
and that's the problem, because again, all these people talking about, well, so and so said this, that it seems like everyone agrees they don't believe some part of their story, but yet then they'll lock in their favorite theory on some part that they said that they do think is true. So
That's
everybody's
right.
now picking and choosing what part of the girl's story, the survivor story, you want to believe. And well,
Yeah.
this part has to be a lie because it doesn't fit with my theory, but this part I'm going to believe that they told the truth because it fits my theory. So
In my opinion, folks, because it's what I'm doing, everything that has come out of their mouths, I take with a grain of salt. I pretty much always have. And that comes from anybody that's interviewed at this point, because how many people have lied to us? Do we
Yeah.
truly honestly know? No. How many people have told us the truth? Do we truly honestly know? No.
no.
The only thing that we know in this damn case that is absolute is that 4 people were murdered on November 12th, November 13th in Moscow, Idaho. That's the only thing we know that's an absolute truth at this point, and that's pretty damn sad. Okay,
Right.
so
Yeah.
take it with salt. Take it with a grain of salt. Anything and everything, in my opinion, because, and I don't care who's telling it to you now, including the Gonsalves family. I hate to say that, but they're even coming out with things that are, and they have been for quite a long time. So there's that. Just saying.
There's another thing that I wanted to point out. I'm going to share on screen an article as we kind of ease into this. This is an article, MSN, from 6 hours ago. Kaylee Gonsalves' mom wants to meet Idaho 4 killer Bryan Kohberger and she reveals what she would say. Now, this is interesting because at CrimeCon, when I was with her, she wouldn't even speak his name. She will not say his name. And she said, I don't want to ever say his name. But now all of a sudden, according to this news article, she told somebody she would like to sit down with him and talk to him, and that she would do so if given the opportunity. However, all she says in the article is she says, I want to sit down and have him tell me why he did it. Tell me why you did this. And that's it. And I'm like, so the problem I have with this, Christy, is if he didn't do it then he's not going to be able to sit down with you and tell you why he did it. But the only thing I want to hear from him is tell me why you did this to my daughter. Well, that's a problem, because what if he didn't? Now, I know there's people out there going to say, well, yeah, he did. He admitted he did. Okay. I mean, what do you do with that? Like, it's a problem. Yeah.
And it makes me wonder too, Lee. I'll be honest with you. Is that why she wants to sit down with him? Or is it because could she possibly have some doubt and she wants to hear what he has to say about how or why he did this to see if it matches up to what she's been told? I mean, it makes me wonder, are they starting to doubt possibly, even though they're not proclaiming it? We've all seen the interview they did at CrimeCon. Because at the same time, they're still saying things, I got sent this morning very early on. If I can find it, I'll show it to you. And it was pretty wild. Oh, here it is. 1 minute. Yeah, let me pull it over here, throw it backstage, and you can see that. And this kind of is like, wow, you don't even believe this. So, hang on. All right, go ahead and throw that up there, sir. So this was posted to their family Facebook page.
I saw this. Yeah.
This is pretty harsh, y'all. Somebody that, in my opinion, is actually kind of being like helpful or wanting to be, saying, are you going to use the new and amazing foundation to test the hair in the Idaho case? Meaning, I took
The
it
hair
that
was
way.
maybe in Ethan's hair. Yeah.
Right. And she, because she's the one that usually is doing this, comes back and says, if it was true, I would. But you can kind of go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Literally.
Folks, wow.
That shows, to me, that shows they don't give a fuck. They don't care about knowing the truth. So there's hair that's unexplained. And instead of wanting to know the answer to who it is, go fuck yourself. That's your answer. Go fuck yourself. You don't want to know you're not a little bit curious about whose hair is in the hand. Here's the thing. And I told somebody,
you should be really curious, right?
Yeah. And go fuck yourself is such an inappropriate comment on that. Like somebody wants to know, hey, can we explain this part? They didn't even say Kohberger wasn't there. They just said, are you going to find out whose hair that was? Go fuck yourself. Really? So
and they made a comment.
When did you stop giving a shit? When did you stop giving a shit?
Thank you. Thank you. They complimented the foundation that was created for Kaylee as well, and then said, are you going to use it to be able to do this? Because it's been brought out, and that's what you get. And then
Yeah.
we all reviewed the Crime Con interview and talked about one of the first things they say when they're talking to this guy is, no, 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 no. We would never want to put an innocent man in prison. All we want is the truth. I almost fell out of my fucking chair. That's serious. Like,
you want the truth. You want the truth. But when hair is in the clenched fist of one of the victims and it's not Kohberger's, and someone asks if you're going to find out who it is, go fuck yourself is the answer.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bingo. Exactly.
We just want the truth. We don't want to
Make up your mind.
in jail. But there's some DNA and shit at the scene that's not his. Go fuck yourself about asking whose it is.
Because it doesn't fit their truth. That's what they want. They'll accept their truth, not the truth. And that's a problem. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just it's super troubling to me that they would have that attitude, because I would think that. And here's the thing, like I said, I believe, I'll run this down one time because I was just telling a friend about this as well. I believe the reason why, and I know they're not here to defend themselves, and sometimes the Gonsalveses have said recently that they just want to have a seat at the table to explain themselves, but here's the thing. I believe that we see Steve Gonsalves is extremely mad at Bill Thompson. You have to ask yourself, why is he so mad at Bill Thompson? People believe, and it may be true, they believe that Steve Gonsalves is mad at Bill Thompson because they wanted the death penalty. Because that's one of the things he's saying. He literally said at CrimeCon, I wanted America to see them shoot him dead. I don't know if I said that or not, but he literally said, the problem we have is the country doesn't show the consequences for doing these things. I wanted everyone in the world to see him killed. I wanted everybody to watch him get shot. And so maybe that's why he's mad at Bill Thompson, but I don't think it is. I'll tell you what I think happened.
I don't either.
I think Steve Gonsalves was told on the down low that there's multiple killers, there's multiple perpetrators, and we're going to get them all. We're going to start with Kohberger, but the trial is going to bring it out, and we're going to get them all. And at the last minute, without informing the family, they lied to him and said it's one guy. And he said, and here's his words from the outside. He's like, if you're going to do this, if you're going to fuck the families, essentially, I'm paraphrasing there.
Sure.
If you're going to fuck the families, essentially, then make him say he did it alone. And what this tells me is this. He never believed it was a solo person.
Yes,
but
sir.
They went with the solo person thing. And he doesn't want this to drag on for the rest of eternity with all the looks, reopening the investigation because another person. So he's like, fine, if you're going to screw us and you're not going to go after all the people you said you're going to. And that's why he's mad. I'm guessing that could be why he's mad at Bill Thompson, because Bill Thompson maybe told him we're going to get them all. The FBI told him they're going to get them all. And then they did a plea deal where they said one guy, he's going, fine, then screw you guys. If you're going to do that, then make him say he did it all by himself, because I don't want to drag this out forever in eternity, looking for the next person that was involved when you told me you were going to get them all. So either go in or don't go in. Tell everybody that, make him say he did it alone. And that's not what happened. And I think he knows it's not what happened. And then they're going to shame everybody that says, hey, wait a minute, this wasn't one guy. Go fuck yourself. Well, I feel like it's not one guy. But
I agree with you fully. Absolutely. 100%. Because he even brought that up, I think, again in that interview and said, about how when they didn't make Bryan Alacute, how they gave some bullshit excuse about that, and it had nothing to do with what the real reason really was. And Steve was talking about that himself. So again, that points to me, or that tells me, like with what you just said, that's what he had wanted. He expected them to make Bryan Alacute explain something about this to them, why you did it, what you did it with. When you did it, whatever. And he did none of that.
Steve also hinted several times before the plea, he said, wait till the trial. Shocking things are going to come out. You're going to see, I think, again, he believed more details were going to come out, and I think he believed that it was going to become clear that there was other people involved. And he's like, you just wait. You wait until the trial.
Yep.
This is the big things are going to come out. You're going to be shocked. And then they screwed him of that opportunity, and he's pissed at everybody. He's like, you all told me to trust you, and then you took a plea deal. You said we were going to have a trial, that we were going to get to the bottom of this, but you took a plea deal. So then it became that if you're going to do that, then make him say he did it by himself and put it to bed, so we can move on with our lives, and we can have a foundation, and we can raise money, and we can say that one guy did it because that's what you're going with. So at least we'll make we'll make a mountain, whatever. We'll make
Right.
whatever. We'll just make a good thing out of it, right? We'll make a good thing out of a bad situation.
I fully agree with you too. That is absolutely 100% what I think the problem is here with him because I mean, you can tell he hates Bill Thompson. No,
Yeah.
no, no second guessing. It's right there. There's nothing he can say that's good about this at all. And it's obvious Bill doesn't care. He got what he needed, did what he did, and he moved on, and that's the end of it. And that's a damn sad thing. Because on one hand, I feel bad for the Gonsalves family for that. On the other hand, after reading that statement that I just read to you, I don't, because it's hard to feel sorry for somebody who doesn't even feel sorry for themselves the way they should. They should want the truth. They should want to hear the truth. And that statement there alone is proving who they have become with this. And that's really sad to me. It's very sad.
Another question I want to ask you to kind of along that lines, and I don't want to turn this into a bashing the Gonsalves.
No. I get it.
But part of me thinks this. The state's case was really, really eroded right before trial when Molly McMichael had videos saying I'm friends with Bill Thompson, and all of a sudden their star witness was shot. They had Brent Turvey, the forensic specialist, saying, hey, by the way, you need to get this hair tested. That's exculpatory. Like all these things happened right before trial. And Bill Thompson was like, fuck, we better settle because we could lose this case. A jury might have reasonable doubt if we go to trial.
Yes,
In
sir.
a way, one could argue Bill Thompson did Steve Gonsalves and the Gonsalves family and all the families a favor by taking the plea deal, because if it had gone to trial, they might have lost.
And Bryan would have walked and you'd have watched. Yeah.
Right. So why are they so angry that they at least got some form of justice? But they're livid that they got some form of justice because, and the theory is because we wanted you to kill him. There's a chance you would have never. He could have walked if that had gone to trial. That's the
and
thing.
he was. Yeah, that's a fact because even with that comment, if you think about it, okay, we wanted the world to see them kill him. Now, everybody that knows anything about the criminal justice system or criminal lack of justice system, I'll call it, knows that if you're on death row, guys, I told you my story. One of the reasons why I'm here is because some piece of garbage killed one of my friends in 1984. 1984. Just now this year, his name is on the list to be executed. That'll tell you how long.
That takes how long? Yeah,
it's going on 40 fucking years, folks. So again, and I know every state's different in some aspect. Making that statement, I want the whole world to see this. Most of the people that are here are going to be gone by the time that happened, probably anyway. But okay, if that's what you want it to be, then let it be. It's just insane to me, the thought process.
You're right, and you look. You make a great point. Look at how long it took to. You're still not there. You still don't have the execution. You're just getting closer, right? After 40 years. They made people believe that Bryan Kohberger was going to be executed as soon as the sentencing came down. They're like, look, we're making sure they have a backup plan. We're going to build a special gallows to shoot him. It doesn't happen that fast. It never happens that fast. There's appeals. The people stay on death row for a long time. They can live out their entire life on death row. But they made people in the Idaho, at least, believe that they were going to shoot and kill him the day after they sentenced him. It was never going to happen that way.
Never. Even if they were to fast track it, let me call it that, okay? If they were to fast track the death penalty for him, which doesn't happen hardly ever, it would have still been, at the very minimum, I'm going to call 20 years, okay? At the minimum. Even when you exhaust any, taking a plea deal where you have no appeal process and none of that, we all know that's not true. So there's many, many options for people that hit death row. And in some senses, they're treated better than standard inmates. Okay, it would have not happened like that. So again, that statement alone just does not exist as far as I'm concerned because it doesn't make any sense. So
yeah,
it's crazy. It is that. Oh shit, that's interesting. I can't wait to see and hear that.
What's that?
Kohberger said that Lana has the roommate testimony from the grand jury. Ho, buddy.
I know. The problem with that is, and this is not a slam on Lana. I love Lana and Truth and Transparency, but what the problem is that while I'd like to see what was said, her lives tend to last 6-8 hours, and I don't have that kind of time. So I got to try to figure out, like, how can I just get the raw thing myself and look at it, because I don't have 8 hours.
I want to see it myself too. Yeah. Agreed. But
yeah, I mean, that's not trying to be a slam on her. It's just that in my busy day when I'm trying to cover my own stuff, I don't have time to watch other creators for hours and hours and hours.
Right, exactly. I get it. I fully get it. We'll get the info at some point. I'm not in a rush to get it, but we will get it. We all have it. Is it in the new doc drop, Amanda?
Yeah, I
If
didn't
it
think
is,
it was.
because we just got another drop yesterday of 28 more documents. So
Yeah, so I read a couple of the documents now, and I haven't found anything big. As soon as I heard the autopsy thing came out, I knew that was the biggest. I'm like, drop
Okay.
everything, and that's the document you go to because that's the big one.
yeah, that's where I know.
Okay.
Right. That Amanda said it is. So once I sort through, we'll find it. We'll have it, Lee. It'll be no big deal.
Nice.
No rush.
So what I want to do is I want to top off my drink liquid here, which is not alcoholic, by the way. So just in case people think when I say I need a drink that I'm doing that. But and then I want to kind of pull up the autopsy discussion. Now I've still been waiting for my team to fully arrive. I think we're going to get Robin and 1-1 in here, but I'm not sure when. But we might start with showing. Talking about that a little bit from the autopsy. I can pull up the PDF with some highlighted sections that I caught. If you want to do that.
Whatever you got going on, you do that. Pull it up,
All
and
right.
give me 5 seconds. I'm going to run in the kitchen. I'll be right back.
All right, I'll let you do your thing. I'll look for questions and comments, by the way, while he's gone. And then when he gets back, I'm going to have him as well hold the fort for a second for me to go top off my water, drink. Any questions, comments? I prefer to watch Dago as he gets to the point. I prefer to watch Dago as he gets to the point, shows evidence of how, and allows everyone to have a voice. Fantastic. What else? Any other comments? Oh, by the way, some people, yeah. Did you see Paige video today? No, I did not see. I didn't watch any Pav's video. I saw a Harsh video, Harsh Reality today. I did not see Pav's video. Again, I don't spend a lot of time watching other creators' stuff. I do tend to watch more of more of Harsh Reality's coverage than anybody. But from time to time, and I'm going to try to do more. I'm going to try to do some more reactions. I've noticed that, Harsh does that a lot. He'll play something from Pav and stop it and talk about it. I'm going to start doing that as well because for my own research, I'll just go ahead and share my thoughts. I like that style. I have been holding off doing it because I thought maybe it could be seen as bad form, but other creators are doing it. So I think I'll probably do it as well. Looking for comments. All right, so give me just a second while I go top off my water, if you will, Dago, and you can look to see if there's any comments in the chat.
Yeah. Welcome, Sarge.
I'll be right back.
Gotcha. Good to see you tonight, Sarge. Welcome, everybody. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. It's great to see ya. Let me see. Did Amanda drop? You commented? Is that what you said? I see your commented, sir. Great to see you. Plenty to talk about coming up, Sarge, in your realm of the case and the things you're interested in, for sure. Can someone, what are you asking here, Sarge? Hold on, let me look. I'm trying to find it. Give me a minute. Let me scroll backwards. I don't see what you commented, sir. Where exactly was the DNA found? Which DNA are you talking about, Sarge? Bryan Kohberger's quote-unquote supposed DNA was supposedly found on the strap, not the snap, on the strap. The strap.
Do you remember how many times we heard it was on the actual metal, the button snap, and then it became the strap? And right. It's funny that things keep shifting and moving around.
That's why I hate this fucking case. So they told us for 3.5 years it was found inside there.
Yeah.
When the document came out and the proof of all this, okay, where it actually was found was here. On the leather part of this strap. It was not on the metal at all, okay? The leather part of the strap that the snap is on is where it was actually found. And they lied to us for years, like they've done with everything else.
With almost everything. Yeah. Hank Green's wife, nice Hank Green's wife. Lee did a video with Birdie covering the black Mustang that was altered to look like an SUV. Didn't Christopher Wickham tell us to pay attention to that? Lee has to revisit that. Chris did make a big deal about the black SUV, like a really big deal. In fact, a lot of creators took him to task on that and said that he was wrong about it being the same SUV that shows up multiple times. I kind of avoided the whole thing because everybody was fighting over one, because they were using it to discredit the entire book Broken Plea, because Chris might have been wrong about his opinion about whether or not it's the same vehicle or not. And I just I thought I didn't get into it because I don't think it was the most important part of the book. I mean, it wasn't. Yes, Christopher Wickham spent a lot of time on that SUV, but I don't think it was the big part of the story myself.
No, and I think there was some confusion with that as well.
Yeah.
Because I covered it because he made such a big deal about it. We looked into it, went into it, and there's some things that are a little bit off there. Which, and again, I'm not saying that's something that a lot of us need to stop doing. I think that because somebody makes a mistake, they're automatically lying and they're a horrible person. That's not the answer, guys. People make mistakes. Things happen. There's a lot in this case. Just accept it for what it is. So, Amanda, can you drop that to me personally in the Discord so I'll be able to go to that myself personally? Please and thank you, dear. I appreciate that. And News, Sarge said we're up to 4 weapons now confirmed by the autopsy. Yes, sir. That was talked about as well. There's a lot coming. And again, we haven't even hit in my opinion, the good stuff that's going to be coming. Because Lee has said it himself. That he believes that there's going to be some people that are going to come forward that are going to speak on this, bring some possible truth to the table on this. I agree with him, and that's going to be the good shit when that hits the fan. Okay, not to mention the stuff that we're getting now. And here we are, guys. What is this? June 3rd. Okay, this started June 1st. This is the third. Is this the third or the fourth, Lee? Drop from Hitler that we were supposed to be getting on the document? Third.
Yes, at least. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so it's only the third drop, you guys. We're supposed to be getting all of these documents unredacted, unsealed, whatever you call it, redacted and unsealed. I'm sorry. And they're just now they dropped this load once, I believe, and they had to retract it because they screwed up somewhere. And now it's been months, and I mean months. When was the last time we got that dump? You remember? It was like 3 or 4 months ago.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Easy. Okay. And we're just now in June, in the middle of summer, getting this. It's got to have something to do with timing, in my opinion. I'll tell you right now.
Well, I think they're waiting for the September post conviction relief option to drop off the table. So they're anticipating the possibility that he's going to file a post conviction relief, and therefore they don't want certain documents out there when this has a potential to go back to trial. Or to go to trial. They never go back to trial because they never had a trial, but it has potential to go to trial.
Right?
Yeah, to go to trial. Yeah.
And I understand the WSU lawsuit thing has probably been a point of contention with it, but
yeah, that's another one, right? The WSU lawsuit also complicates the matter because there's going to be discovery. That's going to be here's the thing, Dago. We don't talk about this a lot. Idaho, in particular, is a bastard when it comes to hiding shit and redacting shit.
Yep.
Not as much Washington State. So when you have a lawsuit against WSU in Washington State, their rules for discovery and what they're going to hide are going to be a lot different, I think, than Idaho. So we might see more documents in the discovery that are made to the public, possibly in Washington, than we did in Idaho. So
I agree. There's definitely going to be an ass load more. See, in a civil suit, you get a whole lot more discovery than you would get in a criminal suit, for one. So that's a grand possibility.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, the civil suit's a lot more. Yeah.
But the problem here is just like the other day when a lot of people were trying to stream the audio to the hearing that they had over there. It's because it's a civil suit. You can't do that type of thing. So how we're going to get things, I hope we do, but how we're going to get them, I'm curious to see how this is all going to roll out too. That's another big part of this. So I hope.
And then some people in the chat are talking about it's going to settle. That's the thing in our country. My soapbox is we're losing the jury system. 97% of all criminal cases end in a plea deal of some kind, and 97% of all civil cases end in a settlement, of which the details are never told to the public. It's all under closed doors, behind closed doors, undisclosed amounts. Nobody ever admits to do anything. They just pay a dollar amount. Like, we're not admitting wrong, but we're going to pay you a couple $1 million, and we're going to make it go away. And that's the way things are done nowadays. People don't fucking go to a trial very much.
Well, I agree with you. It's bad. It's very bad. I don't see WSU settling only because it's going to make them look bad. This is a university. Okay, it's a college, a school.
It's a $500 million lawsuit. It's a lot of money.
Yeah. Exactly. So if they were to settle, they're basically saying we give in and you can have your way. You're right. Blah blah blah. That's how people are going to see it. And then in turn, people are going to see that, and it's going to drop. In my opinion, it would drop their enrollment to shit. So I can't imagine them doing that. I hope they don't do that because I really want to see this go to trial. But
unfortunately, I can see it happening because here's what I see: they're risking $500 million, right? They're risking 400 and something million dollars. So somebody comes through and says, for $150 million, you can just make this go away. So they make a public statement. We're not admitting any wrong whatsoever, but we've come to terms. They privately, without disclosing an amount, give $150 million to the families, and they walk away and dust their hands because if they go to trial, they could potentially lose $500 million. So, that's what could happen.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Which would, again, in turn, it would probably be bad for them. But if it is what it is, it's. Think about how much money that is. I mean, that I don't know how much money that school makes on a regular, but that could be crippling to some places. I know Pullman's way bigger than Moscow, things like that, but it's just, that's a lot of damn money to be dropping. So
yeah,
no matter how much it is.
So I'm at that point where I'm thinking we can start showing maybe these images. And again, all I did, and it was Dago told me that Logan did this from Bronx Tales, I think, right? It was Logan from Bronx Tales that we were saying that did this. Yeah. And I do stuff like this all the time, so I don't know why I didn't think about it. I just did a quick AI analysis. I said, analyze this autopsy report, which was 75 pages long, and make a diagram, a typical, nondescript diagram of where the injuries were on each one of the victims. And it spit it out. Now, the problem I have before I show this on screen is twofold. One, it's graphic, even though it's not an actual human being. It's a drawing and it shows injuries. And so there's that part. But also, I didn't have time to verify whether or not AI got it right. So I didn't go and read the document, but I have the document, and we could do it here. If we want to do it live, we'll do it live. If anybody at all, when we show the image that we used Grok in this case. So I was going to use ChatGPT, but I think ChatGPT won't do it because ChatGPT has so many guardrails on it. They'll be like, we're sorry, we can't show depictions of violence on ChatGPT. But Grok's a little bit more unfiltered. So I used Grok. May not be the best thing, but I'll show you what it generated. If anybody sees a wound that we show on the screen that you disagree with, please bring it up, because what I've got is I've got the document with highlights, and we can go right to the paragraph that pertains to the injury and see what it actually said. So I think this is going to be a good exercise to do live. You can see wounds, and when you see something that you go, I want to see more in detail from the report itself, why AI drew the X's where they drew. All right. So again, this is as Dago's putting in there, trigger warning. I'm going to put some stuff on the screen that is AI generated images of where the injuries were on each of the 4 victims based on, and let me put that on screen, based on this document. Let me put this on screen real quick. So this document right here, it has recently been released. I did an hour and 10 minute or hour and 20 minute video on this today. It's doing very well. So if you haven't seen it, you might want to check out. I basically my takeaway from this morning's drop is I'm going to dispel right now, in my opinion, 3 myths that are out there. That Ethan Chapin left the house in multiple body bags. I believe that's been dispelled if you believe the autopsy report. Yeah. That Ethan Chapin had his privates cut off or whatever, or even significantly injured. That's not the case. We can stop talking about him having his privates took off or put in his hand or put in his mouth or whatever. There's been crazy fucking things, and none of that is even remotely in the autopsy report. And then the third one is any kind of idea that Kaylee Gonzalez was pregnant. That's dispelled by the autopsy report as well. So those things I said we can, in my opinion, we can stop spreading this or having discussions about whether or not he left in multiple body bags, whether or not he had his privates cut off, and whether Kaylee was pregnant, because the medical examiner, a doctor in medical examination in that field, a doctor basically said, this is how the body arrived to me, and these are the injuries. And there's nothing about multiple body bags. There's nothing about a body part being removed, and it's clear that none of the girls had pregnancy. In fact, all of the girls had IUDs inserted. Kaylee even had another thing on top of that was listed in the document, which, by the way, as an interesting aside, I was told that on the down low that Kaylee presented at autopsy with a certain thing inside of her body, and that's in the autopsy report. So just like I was told early on, I believed the person when they said it, it's in the autopsy report. They were absolutely correct. So it made me feel a little bit better that I was told the truth, that that is indeed what is shown in the autopsy report. So anyways, this is the autopsy report. I'll skim through it a little bit to show you some pieces if you haven't seen it. They do talk about toxicology a lot. By the way, another rumor that came up, not a rumor, but somebody said, and I want to check it real quick before we get into the graphic depiction. So here's Ethan Chapin's wounds. It talks about the initial observation about how the body came in a body bag and things like that. The clothing that he was wearing, the jewelry that he's wearing, how the body basically looked. There's nothing in here about arriving to the medical examiner in multiple body bags or anything like that. And there's nothing about body parts missing. So at what level do we want to continue this narrative that Ethan Chapin left in multiple body bags? Because it doesn't
needs to stop. I mean, there's enough. I understand that there's rumors out there, guys, but we have to truly and honestly remember that it's disrespectful to the victims in some aspect, okay? And to their families as well. So just use common sense with some of these rumors. If you hear it, and it some of these things just make no sense. So when you hear it, just kind of think about it before you repeat it, because some of them are so bad, and I mean bad. I've heard some horrible things.
Right, and one of the ones that bothered me the most was this. Because people will say it as fact. Did you hear that his privates were cut off and in his hand? And I'm like, where did you get that? That's not even remotely consistent with anything. No. Oh yeah, it's you're a moron if you don't say it. It's fact. I'm like, it's not fact, and in fact, It's not in the medical examiner's report at all. What I was going to show is one thing, because somebody said something to me today, and I'm like, I just read the autopsy report, and I think you're wrong, and now all of a sudden I want to fix it real quick. So let me get to it first, and then I'll explain what was said.
Sure.
What I'm looking for is toxicology. Here it is. Toxicology. I thought I saw it. No, that's thorax. I saw thorax, and my mind saw toxicology. I'm looking for the toxicology, which comes always after all the injuries, and then they jump to the toxicology. Oops. We're still on Kaylee. Here we go. Nope, that's the internal organs. Sorry. There's a lot, by the way. Here we go. Here's toxicology. Yeah, this is what I thought. So somebody had told me that Kaylee had amphetamines in her system. There's not. There's no alcohol. Yes, but so someone said, did you see that she has amphetamines? No. Xana and Ethan both had amphetamines in their system as well as alcohol. Kaylee did not. So somebody had told me, it's in there, but it's not. And I was like, I read it. Like, she didn't have amphetamines in her system like Ethan and Kaylee. Or sorry, Ethan and Xana. All right, let's get into sharing this. So this is a depiction of injuries. Now, I'll tell you, this is AI. And look, they've made some mistakes already. Like, for example, left cheek is left cheew. So they didn't even spell cheek right? So keep in mind that when we're watching this is an AI depiction of what the autopsy sketches would have looked like with wounds. It does not mean they got it right. If anybody who's seen this and have read the autopsy report, if you see an injury that you think doesn't make sense, and or you want to break into the document and say, tell me please what it said about this. So here you see some injuries on Ethan. The most interesting part of the injuries that I see, Dago, that I wanted to talk to you about is, remember how much we heard that Ethan's femoral artery was cut, the inside of his leg has been, and I don't see, according to this depiction,
it's not
artery cut, and I don't
It's
think I
not.
read it in the document either.
It's not in the document either. No, because I
How
went
many
through
things were we told that were fucking completely untrue?
a whole lot. I mean, again, it's all based off of the rumor mill shit that people jumped on before they looked into it. I mean, no, I went through the word part of the documents on these yesterday and read through a lot of them. But all of them, I know exactly the wounds they had, where they were at, how they were. So again, I'll be able to point out different things, and if you don't understand what something is, I can explain it as well for the most part. So
Yeah. And what we understand from listening now, what I say, what we understand, what I understand, how about both put it that way? I'm not going to put words in Dago's mouth or anybody else's mouth. What I understand from Christopher Whitcomb's book and listening to Dr. Turvey talk about it, whatever, Ethan appeared to be laying in bed when the attack happened. He may have been propped up on his elbow. He may have been laying one direction and rolled over onto his other side. He
Right.
was taking stab wounds while he was rolling over. He
Yeah.
appears to have grabbed the hair of his assailant and ripped it off of the head in the middle of this fight. He was turtled up in kind of the fetal position, as people often do when they're just under attack and they're trying to fucking, stop the injuries.
Yes.
He's got some defensive looking wounds on his hands from probably blocking it. So the point being is that that's what we believe is the answer to why he's got cuts on the back side, on the front side. For what it's worth, I want to see if anybody has any questions about this before we move on. Anybody wants to look at the actual document, in particular wound in particular. I don't think when I first had I first questioned, did Ethan Chapin get hit in the head with something hard to knock him unconscious at the start? But I don't see that really in the autopsy. There was no blunt force object
doesn't show any
used,
blunt
that they
force
said.
at all. No,
Right.
And
So I don't think he was hit like that.
I don't either. I don't believe so at all. Now, if you look at these, the right medial thigh down here, right knee, right calf, and then to the other side, the right medial thigh, right calf, and left posterior thigh complex pattern. I do believe that is where they claimed that there was post-mortem experimental injuries that were put on to the victim. For anybody that questions that, how it would be, that's where I believe those were based on what we were told. But here again, we have to make sure that these things are all correct because, again, we don't know. But this is
now,
go ahead.
I don't want to get into it too much, but the crotch area does have an injury kind of marker right there. And I want to clarify for people, that's not something that's been cut off.
Thank you.
And they described it as, and I hate to do this because people are going to be like, do we need to talk about this? Yeah, we kind of do need to talk about it because the rumors out there about shit that has to be dispelled. The only reason why that is there was a 1/8 inch abrasion, of skin abrasion.
That's it.
And look, a skin abrasion can be caused by sex. It can be caused by masturbation. It could be caused by
anything.
This rubbing against something. That's all it was, is a skin abrasion. There is not any cut there. There's nothing been removed there.
Nothing to do with the crime, in my opinion.
Dispel that. Yeah.
Right. It was not pubic hair in his hand. It's
5 inches long. I've never seen anybody with 5-inch pubic hair.
And Ethan's hair was brown. The hair was a dirty blonde color. So no.
Yeah. But I've heard everything about the hair. Well, it's Murphy's hair. No, it wasn't Murphy's hair.
Dust bunny.
They said it was human hair. Dust bunnies. I've heard that. It was debris. So, by the way, I've been called a moron. It's not hair. It's debris. You fucking moron. It says it right on the report. Debris. It's not hair. No, the whole point you missed is that the expert for the defense, Dr. Turvey, who's done 20 books on the subject, said human hair is in his hand and they listed it as debris. You need to test that. It's not fucking debris. It's not dog hair. It's not dust bunnies. It's not lint. It's fucking human hair. And let's not forget what Dago showed when the families presented, or are you going to test the human hair? Fuck off. How do you not want to know whose hair is in his hand? How do you not want to know?
Hey, Lucy.
Sorry.
Absolutely. Absolutely, guys. It was absolutely blonde, 6 to 8 inch long hair from a human being that was ripped out of somebody's head.
There's a clump of it on the floor. There's a clump of it still stuck to the frame of the bed. There's a clump in his hand at autopsy. That's human hair.
Yeah.
And they know it's human hair. And they also know it's not Bryan Kohberger's hair.
Thank you. I was going to say that next.
And that's a problem. But apparently it's not a problem for people who believe that Kohberger did it alone. Then you ask, then whose hair is in Ethan's hand? Go fuck yourself.
Right. And not to mention, let me point something else out real quick. If you look at his hand, okay, the top of the hand on the one with his back facing us on both sides, there's injuries on the tops of his hands. And on that part, those are defensive wounds, folks. Absolutely
Hey.
defensive wounds. So he had defensive wounds as well.
Thank you, Lana, for showing up and giving a donation to the channel. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. We were just talking about you earlier tonight. Yes, heard you had everybody's like, you got to see Lana. She had a banger of an interview.
Lana. Good to see you,
thank you
sis.
so much for dropping it. Thank you so much. And you're welcome to come on stage if you want us to drop the link. Come up with us and talk about shit. Let me throw the link just in case she wants to do it. Just in case she wants to do it.
Girlfriend. Let's do it.
All right, let's put that on here.
By the way, Robin is in the chat. Good to see you, Robin. I'm glad you're here with us.
Yeah, Robin. So Robin must not be feeling about coming up on stage right now, but of course, Robin should. I don't have to give Robin the link because she should have it, but I guess she's got the link as well. So, anyways, yeah. So I just it's insane to me. It's insane that the family would have the gall to say that f off to the idea of testing the hair in Ethan's hand. So, any other questions or comments about this AI recreation of the injury wounds on Ethan before? Again, we can go to the actual. By the way, maybe we do need to go. You said that there was indication they were post-mortem cuts on the leg. I don't remember that.
There were post-mortem what was explained as post-mortem experimental injuries on his legs. Okay, that they had said somebody had carved into his legs. That's what that supposedly was. So
right, because one of the documentaries, the Dateline Embassy article said that somebody had carved his legs.
And if that's true, that's what I was pointing out. That's what those would be, in my opinion. So
looks like we got Robin to join us. Hey, Robin.
Welcome, dear. Can you hear us?
Yep, I'm here. How are you guys?
We are good. Good to see you.
Yeah.
All right. By the way, so I'm going to look to see the lower. Here we go. Lower extremities. We got a couple of injuries on the lower extremities. On the medial right thigh, is a 9/16 by 1/16 inch stab wound oriented from 9 o'clock to, why the hell am I need to zoom out? Here we go. To 3 o'clock. Both ends are sharp. Metal abrasion is present at the margins of the wound, extending up to a 1/2 inch from 9 o'clock to the end of the wound, and 1/4 inch superficial incised tail extends laterally from 3 o'clock to the end of this wound. The skin superior to this wound shows a linear 4-inch linear abrasion at the lateral, and then there's another entrance wound here at the lateral left right knee is a gaping 4 by 1 inch linear incised wound, 5 inches where approximated or when reapproximated. The wound track travels from the descendant's right, left, and slightly back up to the front. And then there's another injury here on the lateral right calf is a gaping 2.5 to 3/4 inch linear stab wound, 3 inches when reapproximated, oriented from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock. The minimally hemorrhaging wound track involves the skin. So this is the part where you could say minimally hemorrhaging could indicate a postmortem, because that's it would bleed. So the hemorrhaging is like a thing that happens when you're alive. When you're not alive, then there's no hemorrhaging or no swelling, and the skin tends to be yellowish. By the way, this is another reason why when you get into the details about the throat cuts, when they're yellowish in nature, it indicates potentially a post-mortem cut. And then another entrance here on the posterior left thigh is a gaping wound complex consisting of at least 3 intersecting stab wounds measuring 1.25 inches to 2.5 inches and 2.25 inches in length from the lateral to the medial with a combined width of up to 2 inches. And that's it for the legs. So I don't know that it's clear, other than the minimally hemorrhaging wound track might indicate a postmortem. But yeah, the question is, Dago, is the comment that he was carved up, that Dateline, that was one of the things that was that he carved up, that it took time to carve up his legs. And I'm like, well, where did that fucking come from?
Absolutely. And it came from Olivia made a statement at one point after she had sat down with Thompson and said that they told her that these were experimental injuries, and then it came out later on that they were post-mortem, that meaning they happened after. So for instance, as we'll get into, the which was partially in the book as well, and some other things that there were both Maddie and Kaylee both had 2 each uh, slices on their neck, and those were post-mortem as well. And
And I
so
think
Yeah.
I think the description where they said that both edges of the cut line were sharp is another indication it's a double bladed weapon.
yes,
Because instead of being kind of flat on one side, triangular shape, right? It's sharp on both sides. So indicating again a double. I think if we were to read that, if we're reading
it
that
does.
correctly,
If you look at the blade on this side, this is dull, this is flat. There's
Right.
no blade. This is the side. So what they were explaining with that was like on a double blade or like a dagger or a the thing that comes off of a bayonet. It's usually both sides, and that's how you
Yeah.
can tell by the
Rotate
wound.
that for us, Dago. Rotate that for us so we can see the flat edge. Yeah. See that? See how there's a flat edge on that instead of a sharp blade. So if he rotates around, you got a real sharp edge, clean edge there. Here you got a flat edge on that side. That's what they're talking about when the stab wounds
Right.
show. Some of the wounds have one side that's sharp and narrow, and the other side that has that flat part. That's because the
Right.
blade, a single edge blade, looks that way, whereas
And
the double edge will be cut on both sides.
Right. And just to show you, because it's going to get brought up again, if I can get the damn thing in my hand. A serrated edge is, for those that don't know it, is what looks like a
Correct.
saw blade type thing. That would be a serrated edge right there. Okay.
Right. A steak knife also has a serrated edge. A lot of times.
So
Yeah.
instead of the smooth like this, when it says serrated, it's going to be bumpy or jagged like this. That way everybody knows.
Yeah, I don't know if Lana's still here. I saw Lana posted that we're going to do a show together coming
Yeah,
up. So
she's in
I'm
there.
excited to hear that. Yeah, I'd love to do a show with Lana. I've been chomping at the bit to do that sometimes. So looking for it. Of course, we did get on that big open forum that we did with that. That was a lot of fun. That was
I can't wait to do that again.
That was an excellent
Seriously.
show. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was an
Yeah.
excellent
Doing shows with Lana are absolutely amazing. They're fun every time.
All right, let's continue on with. Are we done with questions, or does anybody have questions about Ethan Chapin's wounds? Again, I've got more analysis in my my breakdown that I did today. If you want to hear my thoughts on it, and there's everybody's talking about it, right? Everybody's doing their breakdowns. So I do believe he suffered the final blow early on and didn't have much time to react, but he did try.
So somebody did ask about a square blade. Okay. Now there's knives out there. I actually have one somewhere. I don't have it here. That the end of there could be multiple versions of it, but the end of it comes up and it's sharp and it kind of squares on the corners and squares off. Okay. That's the only thing I can think of that would make that be that type of blade or that type of a weapon. Unless it's like a box cutter, maybe. Okay.
Yeah. And I want to take a moment to comment on what Truth and Transparency said too, because I want everyone to understand this. We are not doing this discussion for some kind of morbid fascination with fucking, murder and shit like that. We're doing this because experts like Dr. Brent Turvey said, multiple weapons were used in this crime scene. So we're looking for that. Is it true? And that's what the fucking autopsy report shows. Multiple weapons, a double-bladed weapon, a single-bladed weapon, a blunt force weapon. There's multiple weapons, a serrated weapon, all of these things. And sure, when pressed, is it possible in any scenario in your fucking imagination in which one weapon could have done it all? Okay, yeah, sure. If you pressed me, I could come up with an explanation how one weapon can do it all. But really, the conclusion is from other experts, that's multiple weapons. And even, like I said, even other people are saying, what other weapon was used? We want him to tell us. So there was multiple weapons. There was. Why are we an
100%.
asshole for looking at it to say, hey, is there evidence of other weapons? Yeah, there's evidence of other weapons. So now the fucking question is that one person? Did he bring in a whole cache of weapons and just all straight?
No way in hell. No way in fucking.
Even Christy is questioning. She wants to talk to Bryan. There was an article on MSN. She wants to talk to Bryan, and she wants to ask him specifically, what is the other weapon that was used? So even Christy Gonsalves understands and agrees that there was more than one weapon used in the commission of these crimes.
And Robin, we talked about that. Sorry, Dago.
I was just going to say, it's been stated that there are 4 weapon profiles now, okay? 4 weapon profiles, or wound profiles. I'm so sorry. But there again, there's no way that there's going to be 4 wound profiles from one weapon.
Yeah.
Folks. Just think about that. That's
No.
all I'm saying. Sorry about that.
How are you
Dave. Go
guys?
ahead.
How are you guys doing?
What's
Good.
up,
How
you
you
hear me?
doing?
How are you?
Good, good. Yeah, I hopped in on a good conversation. So Holland, Holland was brought in to by Turvey. So Holland is a guy. He was the custody queens had him on. Very good interview. He's also like a forensics guy. Turvey actually, and he
Right.
didn't get paid. He wasn't. He specifically said that. I guess he taught. He learned under Turvey. He took like a class and all kinds of stuff. Also, very very good at what he does. And he claims that so Turvey basically is, I guess, is friends with him, and he basically said, "This is what I have. This is all the evidence that I have." It wasn't about BK being guilty or not guilty. It was basically he said, "Prove me that one person did this crime." So they went through all the evidence, and he couldn't prove Turvey wrong. He said
Right.
there's at least a minimum of 2 people, maybe more, and at least, like what Dago just said, there's 4 at least. There could be more, maybe more, but at least they have at least 4 profiles of different bleeds.
And don't
So-
get me wrong, real quick. I want to clarify something. I don't believe that Chris Holland is. I have questions about him. I'll just put it that way. But
Yeah,
there's things that he said that do make sense. But I do question a lot of what he said last night.
yeah,
I'll just put that there. And he did clarify he didn't sit down with the defense team or any of that. He was just somebody
Right.
else whose opinion was asked on certain things. So, but I
And
do
I-
have questions for him too. I'll just put it out there. So go ahead.
I even think Veena Singh, the medical examiner, believes that it's more than one weapon, but she was, pressed to say, is it possible, in your expert opinion, that one weapon could have done all of this? And that's what she was going to testify as. Yeah, it could have. And that's where they were going to leave it. Now, look, cross would have happened at that point, right? And if Ann Taylor was
Right.
doing her job, she would come up and say, is it also possible that those same wounds could have been made by multiple weapons? And
Yes.
they would have to say, yes. In my
Yeah.
expert opinion, it could have been more than one. So that's the people that are missing. Yes, you're right. When you get one side of but there's cross-examination. Under cross, they would have asked, Ann Taylor should have asked, is it also possible that was multiple weapons? And if they have any integrity, which I believe they would have, they would say,
They have
yeah.
to say, yeah.
It
They would have
could
to.
have been
Yeah.
multiple weapons. Absolutely.
And I'll tell you right
Exactly.
now, my own personal opinion, I think the K-bar, if was used, was the last weapon that was used, in my opinion. Okay? A 7 by 1 3/4 inch blade, as compared to looking at all the injuries and so on and so forth, is the last thing I imagine was used for anything, in my opinion. That's just my personal opinion. So,
Yeah. All right, let's move on to Xana Kernodle's recreation. Again, this is an AI recreation of which I cannot confirm AI got it right. I did not go back and reread the document. I did this literally moments before we went live tonight when Dago said, hey, you could just throw that into AI and have it generate a map. So I did so. I have not verified everything on this is accurate. So take it for what it's worth. Again, if you question any injury on here, please ask me to pull up the actual document. We'll show in the document what describes the point you're looking at. So we can get it from the actual document if you question anything that's on there. All right, let's put this on stage. So this is a depiction of Xana Kernodle's injuries. As you can see, now one can argue, right? Here's the thing. If you just look at this image, we've been told a lot. Kaylee Gonzalez got it worse than anybody else. But you look at this, and this looks worse than anybody else. This you could argue this diagram looks worse than anyone else, including Kaylee. But we can describe why it's different for Kaylee. It's definitely different for Kaylee. So this is indicative, it seems to me, of what we've been told. Xana Kernodle was fighting for her life. She was rolling around. She was moving around. She was grasping at things. She was trying to fight back. It was a battle on this one, right? So it was a battle, and the injuries seem to be pretty much anywhere and everywhere as she's in a fight. That seems consistent with that. On her back, on her front. And by the way, the one question I wanted to ask, by the way, Dago, or actually all of you on the panel, because you've all seen it. There was a leaked photo in that first batch of crime scene photos, redacted crime scene photos, in which a little sliver of what is believed to be Xana laying on her back in one of the crime scene photos was leaked. Very, very hard to see, but at the very, very bottom of the edge of a screen. And it looked like she was laying on her back, looking up at the ceiling kind of thing. And you saw her sweater with cuts in it.
Right.
I remember it being gray.
Yeah.
The autopsy
It
report
was.
says it was blue.
It was gray. That
I
was
thought
gray.
it was blue.
See, I thought it was gray, and so did
It
David.
looked.
right?
It looked the heather gray to me.
Yeah.
So let me just real quick, because it's funny because I remember it being gray. I'm like, are we colorblind? So let's see. Okay, here's Xana. Clothing. The body is received clad in a blue long sleeve pullover sweatshirt and a pair of tan thong style underpants. So I thought it was gray. This says blue long sleeve pullover, but then Robin just said blue. What I'm not going to do, unfortunately, is I'm not going to pull up the image on screen and show the actual image, but just because I don't want to get to that morbid level. It was obviously the family's freaked out that image got leaked in the first place.
You have to ask AI what. Yeah.
If you
What
remember
color
when they brought up Gower's car, and
Yeah.
they claimed that car was a certain color, other people saw it as a different color as well.
Yeah.
People see things in different ways. That's all I'm saying. I thought it was gray.
Yeah, and like someone says, blue can sometimes look grayish, also
Right.
depending on the light, right?
Very
so the
true.
lighting could have changed the look
And
of it.
people's eyes perceive
Right.
things differently too, folks.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Lana,
Yes.
saw it as gray too. See, we're not the only ones. I saw a gray sweater. We saw a gray sweater, but the autopsy says blue sweater. So what the fuck with that? I don't know. I'm not going to say that's some big ass conspiracy. It was just a little catch that I caught. I'm like, wait a minute. I thought it was a gray sweater she was wearing. So yeah, interesting. All right, let's put the wounds back up on screen. Looks like she had a lung puncture. That's why they've highlighted the internal organ. There was a lot of talk about the internal organs. Mostly wasn't a lot of internal organ damage, liver and kidneys. But anyways, I don't know about this. It looks like she took stab wounds in both breast area, but and the way the diagram makes it looks like they're like very symmetrical stab wounds, but that's probably just a general depiction of the area. But we did get described of these kind of like crisscrossing multiple cuts that crisscross each other. That also bothers me. Crisscrosses, right? Like, is that one killer, or is it multiple people stabbing and one's coming from one direction and one's coming from another direction, or what's actually happening? Or is it just them rolling over?
It's
I mean,
like
there could be
slashing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
to me, it could have been that somebody was trying to get to her, and they're doing this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
Because
what I mean.
there were missed. When we looked at the crime scene photographs, there were missed like stab marks in the side of her, mattress. So there was at some point, I'm sure she was all over the place. We know she was all over the room, folks. Okay.
Yeah.
And they were probably chasing her around the room, trying to keep up with her and attack her. So at that point, I can see somebody slashing like this, trying to get at her. So that's what it looks like to me. That's just an opinion.
Yeah, and somebody said I'd be screaming through this. That's the $1 million thing. There's no perceivable way in my mind this wasn't heard by the roommates in the house. There's it's inconceivable, as Princess Bride would say. Inconceivable.
But
this girl was.
I was just gonna say. Go ahead, Dago.
I was just gonna say this girl was a fucking badass. Okay, and I hope
I
hope she fucked up whoever was attacking her to the moment she couldn't fucking move. I did every bit of it. I hope she did. I pray and I believe she did.
And I was gonna just say, like, I know it's probably some of your, like what you said, you had some questions. You know, Holland also kind of doubles down again, saying that this happened at 417. You know, it goes along with Bethany hearing they hear the ping pong, beer pong table, but I don't remember hearing any kind of crazy scream at 417. Am I like
no?
Am I remembering this wrong?
No,
No,
you're not.
There wasn't
It's the
any.
part that bothered me because
Yeah.
Christopher Wickham says you can hear the scream at 4:17, and I'm like, no, you can't.
I know.
specifically listened. You hear nothing of the sort.
Nothing.
So did they
I-
move the audio? Like, I don't want to get crazy conspiracy.
I
I
know,
didn't
I
hear the
know.
scream.
Guess what?
I don't
Guess
hear-
what they've done before.
Yeah, I don't hear anything. I don't
I-
hear anything like anyone getting stabbed or
No,
I don't.
I have major issues with
Yeah.
a lot of I have major issues with a lot of the audio from this. I really do, because it just, I mean, look at the stuff Jules got that's, the audio that's redacted. Look at Ann Taylor herself got stuff that
Yeah.
was redacted.
Crazy.
I mean, I have major issues with the audio in this case. I really do.
There's definite manipulation done.
But the question that I have with it, okay, so I mean it's the state's timeline. It's their timeline
Right.
and maybe some, I'm not saying that nothing, that anything didn't happen at 4:17, but if it did happen, let's say it did happen at 4:15 or 4:17, that's when Xana we stabbed a million times and whatever, and that's when she was killed. Why move the scream then? What's the point of? I don't
Right.
understand the point of moving it.
Right.
Right.
I don't
don't
either.
either.
I don't get it.
Why
'cause
wouldn't you move
it corroborates? Right.
They want us to believe it happened at 4:00 in the morning. So why not? Why would you move it the other direction? Why wouldn't you? Why would you ever move the scream from the time frame you're trying to convince everybody it happened into a different time? It doesn't make sense. But it makes me wonder too. Like, and I don't want to go crazy conspiracy. I really don't. But it makes you wonder. Like, because look, even Christopher Wickham said things were given to Ann Taylor in Discovery that were misidentified and in wrong folders. Did they, for example, give her shit with stuff in the wrong place and the times written wrong on it and stuff like that, and basically played the game of, hey, it's not our job to fucking figure it out for you. We gave you the information. You had it right in your possession, so that later they can say, no, she had the file with the screams in it. Oh, too bad that it was mislabeled and said it happened at 2:17. That was actually the scream before. Like, did they pull games like that? Like, you had it. It's in your, and I can prove that you had it in your possession, but it's not our job to explain to you when it happened. That was for you to figure out. Like, I don't know.
Well, I think that's highly possible, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, if I wanted to take that silent footage and add screams and shit to it, there's programs that can do that
Right.
easily. So,
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I really, really have problems with this audio.
Yeah, but and then like what Lee just said, it just bothers me because you got like Wickham and all these people. Again, Holland said it on the custody queen. Oh, you hear a scream at 4:17. When? Where is this scream? Are they hearing some? Do they have access to a different file than we do?
Well,
That's what I wonder.
He did. I think he did have access to files we don't have. That's the thing.
It's been stated by Turvey and Wickham that they had access to files that have not documents that we haven't seen yet. So that's where it's coming from.
Right.
I'm guessing.
Right.
But if that's the case, then why not put that out so that it would set everybody up? Okay.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. All right, real quick. Somebody had asked about this. There's a really strange looking wound on the kind of buttocks area of Xana Kernodle. And they said, I want to know what that weird ass T-shaped thing is on her buttocks in this image. So I did pull up while we were talking about the lower extremities. We'll see if we can find the answer for you. So here's one of the entrances overlying the right shin. Well, that's not going to be X. We're looking at the buttocks. So I'm going to look down to this. On the posterolateral right calf, that's not going to be it. On the anterior aspect of the left knee, that shouldn't be it. So that's it. So, okay. So the closest we got is
go back through it again. Let me see.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where it's at.
Overlying the right shin. No. Hemorrhagic wound track with it. Nope. Associated. No. Where's the rest of the wounds at? Hold on. Associated.
This is the closest one I can get on the right calf, but that's way too high for the right.
That's not. It could be that the AI screwed up somewhere.
And that's what I'm saying. Like I can't get. Here we go. On the aspect of the left knee, that's not going to be it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. AI generated that, and that's why I say that I can't. So a good catch, from the people who are like, "Well, what's that?"
Right. It looks like a damn wrench. It doesn't even look like a wound.
I know.
It's wild looking.
So keep in mind, again, this is an AI generation based on the document, and
hold on.
go through and double
wait a
check
minute,
it.
Lee.
Yeah.
You see the line coming off of her forearm, coming downward. Is it pointing to that or no? Okay, I see where the line.
Yeah, yeah, because they do seem that they're linked. They show this wound and this wound as a linked thing.
Maybe that's what that. I thought maybe that's what that wound may have looked like on the forearm that they're showing.
And what I'm wondering is, so this one is the one corresponding to entrance wound 1, and if so, then we should be able to find it. Should be this right here. The underlying the right shin is approximately 2 linear incised. Where's the echo coming from? We got an echo coming big time. Super medial from the medial end of the wound. I don't see it. I don't see what explains that.
It doesn't explain it.
Image.
Nothing does.
So again, keep in mind that this is not perfect. Like I don't know that we can. I don't see that. I don't see that in the report. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Upper lower injuries to hands. That arrow goes there. There's nothing on the rear buttock or.
Someone says, I think the wound went through the front of her thigh through the left buttock. And even if that's the case, though, I would think the medical examiner would note that on the note about injuries when they're looking at every part of the body. But we could look. Right. We could look on the. Well, even then, it would be on the front of the lower extremity.
Yeah.
And we read the lower extremity injuries. So I don't know.
In the back, and it's not.
Let's see if it's listed in the torso area. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's high enough.
It would be lower torso. Yeah, it could be torso, lower extremity. Wait, what was that? Dorsal? Nope, wrong one.
Okay, so here's the upper extremities.
That's going to be below that. Is there anything with torso?
I'm looking as I scroll. You help me look for it.
Well, on the
so
torso,
wait a minute. Here's that gaping on the forearm. Dorsal left forearm, a gaping wound consisting of 2 or 3 intersecting incised. Red tan abrasion is present in the wound. On the dorsal left wrist are 2 incised wounds. Proximal wound is blah, 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 skin, blah, blah, blah. I'm just looking to see if we can find an answer to that. But base of the thumb.
I don't.
Left palm.
I don't remember reading anything from her torso.
Yeah, I don't see it. I think it has to be an AI anomaly because I don't see it.
Yeah, right. It must be.
Makes sense.
So, maybe it's a bad exercise to do when it's not.
Well,
correct.
I mean, it's still helpful in other ways, though. We can clarify what's a mistake and what's not.
Right.
That's the thing.
Yeah, right. Which is why I said this is exactly why I said if you take issue with it. Or want to look at it further, let's go ahead and pull it up. All right, I'm gonna save Kaylee for last. I'm gonna bring up Maddie now next on screen.
And here, there's something. I'm glad you're doing this because there's something with Maddie that has changed a lot as compared to what we were told in the beginning. A whole lot, from my understanding. Something I heard last night was that Kaylee only had 3 defensive wounds on her hands and her arms area, but that Maddie had 12. Now, our understanding from the beginning of this was that if anybody was passed out or sleeping, that Maddie was the one. And Maddie had more defensive wounds than Kaylee did. That's insane to me. That is absolutely insane to me if that's absolute truth.
Right. Because the story that they told us was she was kind of dead asleep and they attacked her first and then Kaylee.
Right, and considering how bad Kaylee was, attacked, you would think she'd have more defensive wounds because she fought harder to defend herself. And it sounds to me like there was barely any at all. 3. That's insane to me. I'm sorry, it just is.
Yeah, curvilinear. I thought that's kind of like an angled cut instead of like a straight across cut. It's more like
it goes like that. Yeah,
like an angled cut. But,
yes.
All right. So again, I don't know how accurate these images are, but these are what I caught in the autopsy report was that both girls received injuries to their cheeks, which I thought was stab wounds to the cheek, which I thought was interesting. Kaylee had extensive mouth injuries to the extent of making it look like a knife was shoved in her mouth. They talk about the teeth being divided. It cut her retainer, cut her tongue. So again, was that just simply flailing around in an accidental, or was that a very intentional shoving a knife in someone's throat?
I'm telling you guys, I have issue with the whole thing. I'm starting to think, and I've really been on this for a minute now.
Yeah.
It sounds to me, one probably knows where I'm going, but it sounds to me like somebody may have had a hold of the back of her hair and slammed her face into something multiple times because
Yeah, there was abrasions on the face, like maybe they'd scuffed against the
exactly
wall, or yeah.
it's hard because her teeth were split in half. There were multiple teeth knocked out, or her face was completely disfigured. And I'm thinking, if she was moving throughout that house, that somebody could have caught her at some point, got a hold of her. I hate talking about this because it's so
I
disturbing.
know. I know.
You know, but it grabbed her by the hair and slammed her face multiple times into something like a stair or the floor, and caused that to be, you know, what the answer was to that. I just really feel strong about that. I could be wrong, and I have no problem being wrong.
I got
but
another question.
It feels like it could be.
Since you're on, well, you didn't get to when you get to Kaylee, I'll bring it up. You're not on Kaylee.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot we were on Maddie. My apologies.
We were on Maddie, and I was trying to look because
yeah.
I was trying to look at the description because people were pointing out, wow, she got injuries on the back, right? And so Maddie was supposed to be laying in bed on her back. So again, AI. So did they get it wrong? Was it punctured?
No. There were wounds on her back. I remember reading them.
Yeah.
So this is the description from the that's internal. So let's go back to the external wounds.
Where did I read it at?
We're going to start at the beginning. Stab wounds of the torso. Or let's go to the very top. Addie Mogan. I'm scrolling up. Okay. Head and neck. Okay. Yeah. So here we go. So head and neck. Look for anything that says on the back.
Yeah. It's down lower. I saw it a little bit, I think, as we went up.
Right forehead.
Where's
upper right cheek. Right nostril, lower right cheek, oral mucosa, and tongue. The tongue. So the tongue was perforated. Was it because she bit her own tongue, or did she get also?
I think it was from biting her tongue, and also the septum was perforated too. I believe it was cut.
Upper cheek.
I swear I saw torso injuries on her back. Oh, you're still going. Okay. When
there's more cheek, there's more tongue.
Neck. Oh, there it is. Stab wounds of the torso right there. On the lateral left upper chest, just below the left clavicle, is a gaping approximately 3/4 to 3/16 linear stab wound oriented from 10 to 4. 10 o'clock sharp, 4 o'clock is squared, which means the 10 o'clock is the entrance wound and the squared would be where the knife came out. Hemorrhagic path associated, but I guess I'll be damned. Maybe it wasn't her that had back injuries. I swear I saw those. Hemorrhagic vest.
Upper left breast, linear stab. Second rib fracture, left lung lobe perforated.
And the pericardial. Unless they put it in the wrong place on the diagram. Deltoid region of the left arm, angled incised wound. There's nothing on the.
There's nothing that I'm seeing. On the
it
back.
Must have been Kaylee then. I swear I read like back injuries to Maddie too. So my apologies.
So, and in that regards, I'm reluctant to continue using the images because I don't want people going by and starting to repeat that she had injuries on her back if she wasn't stabbed in the back, and I don't see that in the report, and so I don't want to put shit in people's heads.
We can also say that wasn't there though. That's the thing. So
correct, right? Right.
Just trying to get somewhat of a visual thing,
So do you guys want to look at Kaylee's or not? Even though we're not sure that it's accurate enough to
well, you said it,
we can differentiate what's real and what's not by looking at the diagram and then looking at the actual report and separate them with no problem.
So this is Kaylee's. Everything that they list is basically above the waist. They did talk about the one sock that was partially on her foot and not the other sock when she was, but again, look at all of the wounds to the face in particular. What does that and the two throat slits? What does that tell you? Somebody wanted her to. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's not up.
I'm all talking about.
There you go.
Wow, it's crazy.
Right.
That's so bad.
When I see that somebody wants her to look ugly, right? Somebody wants to fuck up her face and make her look, and that makes it personal. That makes it not just a random killing. They're sending a
And
message.
I got a
or
question.
something.
I don't know if Lee got a chance. Probably not. I know because you were at CrimeCon and everything, but Dago, you saw this video, right, with Holland on the custody queens.
Yeah.
So there's a part where they, Ron, he specifically, they were asking him pretty good questions, and he says that she was strangled like 30 to 45 seconds.
Well, he said I knew that was coming up too
I know.
somewhere, but he said that she was suffocated first.
Suffocated, right?
Okay.
I was gonna. So what did you like? What did you think about that? Because
my when I heard him say that, my thoughts, and I told him that last night when I was watching. We watched this in Discord.
Yeah.
Was that maybe to keep her from screaming, that they possibly shoved a sock or a T-shirt or something in her mouth to keep her quiet, and then in turn, would cause the petechial hemorrhaging in her eyes and around her
Right.
mouth. Okay.
I'm
And
just
then not
bringing
to
it up.
mention-
Yeah, I'm
not to
bringing it up
mention-
because
not-
I just
well-
yeah. Go ahead.
Not to mention, then once they cut her subclavian artery, then that the blood then internal bleeding started, and she choked and drowned on her own blood as well. On top of that is what I think happened, based on
Right.
what I read.
Yeah.
And heard.
Yeah, because we weren't sure. We weren't sure before that she was at. We
Well-
were just we thought that maybe it was just that she choked on her own
Hey.
blood, and I'm sure she did.
Because
But
it says asphyxiation. That's why.
Right.
But the
seems-
strangulation part of it is what I'm struggling with, because
Yes.
it is rare. It is rare that you can strangle somebody and their hyoid bone does not break.
Yeah, it can
Because-
happen,
Right.
but right,
It
right,
can,
it is
yeah.
rare, right.
But the force, here's my problem with this, okay? As we can tell by looking at this and reading what happened to her, the force that was used against her, anybody that would have strangled her, there's no way,
Right.
in my opinion, they didn't break the hyoid bone.
Right. That's what I
Right.
was just gonna say to you, because strangling someone is like it's like the closest, other than like using a knife
Personal.
or stabbing someone.
It's
It's like
personal.
one of the most personal ways to kill someone is strangling them, and you're not gonna.
Right.
When you strangle someone, exactly what you said, the anger and the fierceness that you have, you're not going to be, it's not like, oh, it's okay. You're not like petting a dog. You like it's like it's a
Well,
vicious.
Everything else that was done to her was like with absolute rage.
Right.
I can't
right.
imagine that if there was strangling that it wasn't that same way.
Right. So that's why I had a problem with it too. Okay. So I'm not crazy. All right.
And I want to point
No.
something out when you guys are talking about this strangulation. I want to point out, I mean, I don't know if I can find it quick or not. The medical examiner did not list strangulation as the cause of death.
Right.
She was still alive while she was being strangled. It was contributing factors, but the actual cause of death was the sharp force injuries. The strangulation was not a cause of death. It was. So I thought that was interesting because it indicates that she was strangled before she passed.
I believe that might be because it was also claimed that the person that attacked her was climbed over in the bed on top of her. So
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's possible that they held her down by her neck or her throat and was stabbing her that way.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
here's the thing. This also leads me to believe that there were at least 3 to 4 people, because if
Without a doubt.
if somebody is right up, doing all this to Kaylee, to me, there's Maddie. She's fighting. So there's got to be more than one person dealing with these 2 girls.
I agree, because why didn't Maddie try to get out of the bed when Kaylee was being attacked,
Right.
or vice versa?
Exactly.
Right.
I believe
There's
Right.
no
I
way
believe-
one person did that.
Right. And
I-
I still have
I-
yeah, go ahead, Louis.
I believe based on, and again, I'm going to be guilty of doing the same thing I said to people. You're picking and choosing what part of their lie you want to believe.
Yeah.
I believe based on, in part, on the DoorDash driver, Molly McMichael, saying she saw a female looking up in the upstairs window and ducking down when she looked up there. I think the two girls upstairs could have been attacked by a male and a female, and that the girls ripped some of that female's hair out in the bed upstairs. Yes. I think two attackers were attacking those girls simultaneously, and they probably had different weapons, which explained different parts of injuries. And I think two different people were attacking the people downstairs, Xana and Ethan. I think there's possibly four different killers attacking both rooms simultaneously, and they killed differently. They used different weapons in both places.
I still have a problem.
Seems to be.
Yeah, and I still have a problem with the DoorDash. I heard, I know Holland. I know, yes, it's correct. When you're forced to be in an extreme situation, your mind, people react differently to different things. I understand that, but I have a problem. I still have a problem that, Xana's in the kitchen, like with the DoorDash, eating food. There's no food anywhere upstairs. Like, she's just gonna hold on to this food. I mean, they found fries and stuff right on the floor in Xana's room.
I think that
I have a problem with the DoorDash stuff.
The statement was made yesterday, I think, or maybe last, and it could be true that she walked from the kitchen after hearing something, possibly got all the way into her room carrying the plate, and got attacked as she walked in the room, which is what flung the food everywhere. That makes sense to me.
That makes sense, but I don't see
being chased into her bedroom with food makes no sense.
Yeah, that's my issue. Yeah. I don't. Could it happen? Sure, but I find highly unlikely that she's running down the stairs, or she's
holding
running
her
away
bag
from
of food.
someone. Oh my God, I got to hold on to these fries.
No.
I don't think the fries are that important.
No, I think what could have happened, and it does make some sense now, is that when Xana went to go get the food and then went to the kitchen, Ethan's in the bedroom by himself, and somebody may have went in that room, attacked him, did what they were doing. Xana and maybe in the midst of it, Xana comes in the room with her food, not knowing shit. And as soon as she walks in the door, bam. Okay. And that could explain why there's food everywhere. And they take her down too. That makes sense to me.
And I got another thing real quick with the DoorDash. I mean, we just mentioned it. I know Lana covered it. I don't know if she's still in the room. So Holland was asked, he said that there is a picture of the delivery, but where is it? We haven't seen it.
Yeah, again, another document we haven't seen.
I'll tell you this. I read about a picture of the delivery. The picture supposedly this was during contactless delivery because of COVID. And supposedly she took a picture of the food on the doorstep, proving that the food had been delivered. That's the only photo I've ever heard that has been supposedly verified, that Molly took a picture of the food delivered to the front door. Right. That's where she left it.
But we haven't seen it. They haven't shown it to us yet.
It's probably in one of those documents that has not been released to us yet, but they saw.
Right. But but if that did happen, that does change some of the story a bit. Whether if she did take a picture or she actually handed it off to someone. So
crazy. All right, other questions? I mean, so what I was going to show on screen is these two. Oops, I'm doing it again. I'm talking about shit I'm not showing. The two neck cuts, throat cuts. This, according to Christopher Whitcomb, those cuts were made from behind, post-mortem, to the throat, which again, it leaves you with a lot of fucking questions. What did he crawl up into bed behind her to make behind the, like, it leaves a lot of questions. Like, the official story leaves a lot of questions. Just like, how does how does Sutton determine that the killer did it in the nude, but then somehow decided to put their clothes back on to walk past Dylan wearing a balaclava? Like, like the asinine level of stupidity they expect people just to accept, and yet most people did. I guess it's not that stupid, because they literally got most people to buy the dumbest fucking scenario ever, that he was naked but somehow still walked past Dylan in full clothes. So what are you trying to say? He killed 4 people on 2 floors butt naked and then took time to get dressed to walk past Dylan? Like, does that make sense to anyone?
No, and it shouldn't. real quick, I just noticed something, and I do remember hearing that. So that mark on Xana's backside, the buttock area that we couldn't figure out.
Yes.
Jules was reading about. Delroy said it. There's a bruise on the right butt cheek or buttock. So that could be why that looks weird because it's a bruise and not an actual cut mark.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay.
That would explain that. So therefore, in turn, it's really not that off.
Yeah, if it was bruising, right.
That right. Look at that. That could be because look at the red around it too.
Yeah.
It very likely could be bruising. So I do remember hearing about that. So that's a good point, and thank you, Delroy.
And I know when I came in, you were kind of talking about it. So I'm sure you ranted. I may have missed it. I know I was in a little bit late. Why were we told forever that it was one knife when clearly here in the autopsy, it's at minimum, at least, 4 profiles of blades. So they knew this. They knew it was 4 blades
Because they lied like they did
or
everything
more.
else.
I know.
Right, well,
it's like ridiculous.
Well, yeah, and I'll restate it the way I did, which is that the prosecution told the medical examiner, our theory, this is what I'm saying happened. I can't prove this, right? So they tell the medical examiner, our belief is this was done by one person using one knife and it's a K-bar knife. Are the wounds that you're seeing consistent with that? And so they said, I can see how one knife, like they kind of forced it onto their interpretation. Like, so she's recording, the doctor's recording single or double-edged blade weapon, blunt force trauma, all these different things. And then they came and said, but could it have been done by one weapon? Okay. If you press me, I can see how you could create a serrated looking cut from a non-serrated blade. So sure, I can see how you could, like, basically it was one of those, can you come into the courtroom and say it could have been done by one weapon? And again, on cross, Anne would have said, in your opinion, was it committed by one weapon? Or is this indicative of multiple weapons? Like, depending on how she worded it.
This is what I hate. I hate this kind of horseshit because you shouldn't be going to the medical examiner and saying, well, could it be this? No.
Right.
The medical examiner
Was
should be
it
the
there?
one and only person to determine what the hell is going on with the weapon that way.
Right.
From
Yes.
that standpoint. Nobody should be going to that medical examiner and saying, well, could you come into the court and, maybe say
Right.
that it
Well,
could?
and see,
No,
it should be
bullshit.
independent. Right.
That's
It should
why-
be an independent thing.
that is why I had issue with how many people were in those autopsies at one time. Okay.
Right.
You can tell me that's normal all you want. I don't believe you. I've never
don't give a
seen
shit.
3 to 4 police officers in an autopsy. For what reason? For what reason? What are they doing there? Okay. Maybe one
They're
for
not medical
whatever
personnel.
reasons. They're not. That's it right there. You don't need an ISP officer and two detectives from Moscow or whoever else is in there to be in that room. And it bothers me. It just bothers me. There's
Yes.
something about that that's unnatural to me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Based
So
on what we're seeing. Sorry.
I want to show some things real quick.
Oh, we have a new member.
Oh, nice.
Is that on
Sarah
that's
Gentry. Is
my
that yours
side
or
or-
ours?
That's my side. Welcome, Sarah. Thank you so much for joining us and welcome to the family. Appreciate you.
Cool.
All right. So I'm going to read a couple of things about double-edged blades from the autopsy report. This is just pages in. Let's go. Actually, did I want to go from there? Let's go up to here. Okay, hold on. Dr. Singh will provide her opinion that Gonzalez's wounds were consistent with a single-edged and or double-edged knife. And then there's several points. Dr. Singh will provide her opinion her wounds are consistent with a single-edged or double-edged knife. Continuing on. Dr. Singh will testify that a single large blade, single or double-edged knife could be responsible. See, this is the word fuckery we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's possible that one knife, be it single or double-edged, did all the attacks. They will testify that it is possible it could have been done. That doesn't mean that's the doctor's expert opinion. That's how it was done. It's just Could it have been done? They will testify that it could have been done. Another, it could have been done with a double-edged segment, single-edged segment. This is and some of the bodies said single only, and other ones said doubled or single. So if you read carefully, you'll see that some of the victims, they'll say, could have received just single-edged, and others double-edged. It looks like you got a donation there, Dago. Oh, you're muted. You're muted, bud.
I do, and I was just getting ready to say thank you again, Sarah. God bless. Appreciate that very, very much. I think that just does that. Yeah. Okay. Number one towards our goal for tonight, and thank you. Very, very generous and very sweet of you. Thank you, and God bless. So very much appreciated.
So, other questions, comments, concerns that you guys have about the autopsy report? Again, if you haven't, I realize this is self-promotion, but if you haven't seen my video breaking down my thoughts on the initial, again, I started out by saying we can dispel, in my opinion, 3 rumors that have been out there in the wind.
Yeah.
That Ethan Chapin was taken out in multiple body bags, that Ethan Chapin had his privates cut off, and that Kayla Gonzalez was pregnant. These things have been and look, somebody came back and said, I've never heard any of those things said. They're out there, I assure you.
Yeah.
I have to deal with
every
it
one
all
of
the
them.
time by people in the chat all the time.
Yeah, well, every one of them has been said multiple times.
Yeah, or any of the other girls too that were killed.
Every single girl, every single one of the females, and this is something that I heard from the book Broken Plea. Every girl was on birth control. Every girl had IUDs. Kaylee even had a feminine product inside of her body still at the time. Like and so what does that mean? It just mean, and again, no indication. In fact, they tested no indication of pregnancy on any of the females. So we can dispel all those talks. In my opinion, we can dispel those talks.
And not
at least
right. Not to mention, if any of the girls would have been pregnant, there would have been an extra charge added on. Okay.
Right, and some people did hint that. Some people hinted there was a 5th death that was covered up, and that was the baby of Kaylee Gonzalez. But again, there's no baby.
No. Yeah. There were no organs that were stolen. There were nothing.
Right.
None
that
of
was another rumor that somebody had taken trophies from Kaylee and cut out her heart.
None of that happened.
That was
folks.
one of the
Right.
And I'm grateful that we have the truth to be able to show that, because again, that is so very highly disrespectful to the victims, in my opinion, to make it worse than it was. Okay, they have they have integrity that needs to be withheld in that aspect for them as well.
Right.
In my opinion,
and no gunshots.
This is Amanda made a great point. No gunshots are mentioned.
Right.
You don't think the medical examiner would have noticed a bullet or a bullet hole? They did X-rays on all the bodies. No bullet fragments were found.
Right.
No bullets were found. A gun. We should dispel. Now, granted, people will still insist a gun may have been used but just never fired. Okay, fine. We can't prove that, but I can say that it seems reasonable to conclude nobody was shot in this crime. Again, unless you believe that the medical examiner lied about that.
And this is why transparency is so important. Like, why do we have to wait a year for the case is over? He pled guilty, right? Why do we have to wait almost a year for autopsy reports to come out? This could have dispelled a lot of the nonsense.
Right.
We could have dealt with all this shit a long time ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Amen.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yep, that's on.
Aaron Noel
sent that over to on our side too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. You are amazing.
You guys got another one too, right behind us.
Michelle Rowe. Yeah, Michelle Rowe. Thank you so
wow.
much. My favorite
Nice.
channel. Keep the great. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, I think Michelle was one of the people following all of the updates on Discord during the CrimeCon updates.
Yeah.
Holland did bring up the gunshot thing as well, and he said, because the officer Nunez, right? That he did think that Ethan had killed himself. It was a murder suicide. So
at the beginning,
Nunez,
right.
Yeah. I don't know. And again, the other officers challenged him. Where'd you come up with that? Where did you come up with the murder suicide? Like that was a challenge right away. Like, it looks to me like a murder suicide. How did you get to that? I think
how'd you get there? Right.
Warner said. How'd you get there? Yeah. So yeah, good. So for me, I'm going to say definitively, I'm not really entertaining anybody was shot.
Right, right.
I won't rule out the possibility that a gun was used to threaten or intimidate or keep people
Right.
Yes.
whatever. Why somebody
Yes.
else got that's possible, sure. But I don't think a gun was fired personally. I don't think a gun was
Right,
fired
right.
personally.
I agree.
Because Lee, you brought up,
Yep.
you know, one of the things you mentioned in your video, and I agree with you. Is it possible that this could happen, but highly doubtful? You would have to have so many different people and putting their career on the line and putting their name on the line, their integrity and everything, having the coroner, medical examiner, having all these different people willing to lie.
Yeah.
I don't buy it. So
Think to add to that. Think about this. You don't think Brent Turvey looked for the possibility of a gun being
I'm
used in a
sure.
crime?
Absolutely.
And
I'm
if he
sure,
found it, he
definitely.
would have said something.
right.
And here's the other thing, folks. I've been thinking about this a lot because I've heard a lot about this gunshot thing. Okay, after hearing multiple versions of the 1112 audio. Okay, now, and this is just a thought. I'm just saying it doesn't mean it couldn't have been manipulated away, but let's say it wasn't. That would be like an echo chamber inside that house, even with a silencer. And I know one can attribute to this
Yeah.
because of the law enforcement aspect. Okay, I have guns. I've fired guns. I know how guns work. I know how a silencer works, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
What we heard on that 112 audio, there's no way that we would not have heard that. It would have been so much louder
I
than what
know.
people
I've said that.
imagine.
That's what I've tried to say. I
it
know.
is so loud.
Yeah. You have to get at like
Inside a house.
people think that a silencer. I know the term is very misleading because it says silencer, and people who don't know about guns think they're thinking of movies and stuff that they watch.
Exactly.
And
It doesn't make
silencer.
that
Yeah.
cue
Right.
noise.
It doesn't.
do
Yeah, it
that.
doesn't. Right. And I want to address this real quick before we get too far along. I hope that I'm reading this right. Crud Dog Studio said my belief was that the butt end of an AK style with a bayonet was used, whatever, and I'm pretty sure that's been debunked. And if I'm reading that right, what I'm going to say is this is what I'm going to say. If I'm reading this right, good on you. I love it when people can have a theory, but when it's debunked, they can be like, I guess I was wrong. It's so many people dig into their
Right.
personal theory and they refuse to
Yes.
budge. Well, I still think there could have been a gun involved. Like they can't move away. So if that's what you're saying, that, hey, you had a theory and now you're kind of thinking that can't be true. Good on you for being able to say that, because so many
and-
people can't back away from something once they've dug in on something.
Let me say this though. Even if there wasn't a gun used in the commission of the crime, that does not mean there was not a gun present to use
Correct.
for the threat
Right.
aspect, to keep
Right.
them
Right.
confined, to keep them under control. That is something that's very plausible. So don't
Right.
go too far away from your theory on that, Cruddy, because there
Yeah.
could have been a gun used, for, just to scare the people. And if there was, okay, yes, the bayonet could have been on the end of the gun, could have been used. The butt end of the gun that it goes against your, the butt stock could have been used for hitting. Any of those things are possible, but
Yeah.
as far as bullets being fired, I don't believe in that at this point.
No.
Yeah,
So-
I would believe more that an AK was present and not used
Sure.
than this
Yes.
stupid reasoning, the stupid thing that it's a vacuum cleaner or whatever the hell
Right.
was said.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, there was something because of the lines on Kaylee's mouth, okay, that was brought up about that. That's why I could believe that the buttstock could have been used to smack her in the mouth, or
Yeah,
it was also brought up that Eddie said it yesterday, and I always forget the name of it. It's got a weird name, but on the top of like a rifle or an AK or anything, there's the track that they put up there to mount your sights on. Okay, there's
Yeah.
lines and grooves in that. It's got a weird name. I can't think of it, but anyway, if you're to roll the gun forward and shove that into somebody's mouth to keep them quiet, you absolutely will leave an indentation with that. There's no doubt in my mind. So that's why I believe, like
Talking about the
one
rail,
just said,
the top,
the
the
rail,
top
the
rail.
top rail, yeah.
mounting
The rail, yeah, I have.
It's called
Right.
something else. I can't think of it, but it's a special name for the part. It's like icky, ticky, picky, tricky, some shit or something like that.
So
Anyway,
what about Foxy Rose's question here? What about the square of drywall that was removed from Kaylee's bedroom? I don't
I think
remember
it was
that.
for blood analysis. That's
Yeah,
what
I
I
don't
think those
remember.
were.
I do. Yeah, I do remember. I do remember a piece of drywall. That's right. In the pictures, they showed a piece of drywall that had blood spatter all over it. That they had
Yeah, I
removed.
think it was for
Yeah.
blood analysis. That's all I think. It was taken for patterns, like spatter pattern and stuff like that. That's exactly what I think. Because sometimes you
yeah,
need more than a picture to look at the situation, in my opinion.
and you're right, Dago. Yeah, you're pretty good. It's called a Pickney rail. It
There it
is,
is. Pickney rail.
but usually we just say
The
we
top
just say
rail.
rail. But you're right. It's
Yeah.
called a Pickney rail. Yeah.
Pickney. I was close. Pickney
Yeah.
rail,
No,
but
you're
that's it.
pretty. Yeah.
But again, if you look at the top of that, there's thick indentations where you mount your
Yes.
sights on there. I have one
Yep.
on one of mine. Okay.
Yep.
And again, think about somebody's trying to scream or yell, and you turn that and roll that rifle and shove it down into their mouth to keep them quiet. They're not going to move their mouth. And then you have that also could cause petechiae around their mouth as well. If you think about it because of the pressure. So
Mhm.
just saying, I mean, these are possibilities, but I do not believe at this point now, with looking at this and anything else, that there were any bullets fired anywhere. I just don't believe it.
Yeah.
I thought about it, but I don't see it at this point.
But the only thing then to bring up that what is it that made this spark or fire?
That's the question. That's a good
the
point.
question.
Right.
Because I agree. I know you said, Dago, you actually did a test with the candle lamp or whatever. You said you did a test.
Like a
I took,
Sensi lap.
I
The
took one of
Sensi
my
lamp.
wife's. I took one of my wife's Sensi's and threw it on the ground to see what it would do. I got cussed
Right.
out for it, but but it didn't do anything. It made a
Right.
very it did that and it was done. There was no sparks. There was no nothing. So
Yeah.
that was that. And that's why
And
I've
again,
never believed it.
the problem we have now, granted, anyways, the problem we have again is picking and choosing what part of Bethany and Dylan's statements you want to believe are true
Yeah.
No,
or
I
not
know.
true. We're
Right.
taking for fact that Bethany
That-
saw
right.
and heard a flash
Yes.
and saw, and why would we take it as fact when we're not
Right.
even sure she's telling the truth, that she was there, that she stayed
Right.
downstairs, that she knew what happened? Like, we don't believe half the things she says, but somehow that's locked into stone. There's a flash that we must account for because Bethany said so. Well,
Yeah.
why are we locked into that part's accurate when we don't know?
No.
Well,
Right.
you know what's funny too?
But we do.
Lee?
But I just want to say, sorry, Dago, just before I forget the point, you're right. The only thing, though, I would say, you're right. We have no reason really to believe what Dylan or Bethany, how do we know what's true or not true? They're all over the place. However, we do see kind of that weird,
Flash of light at
in
227
right,
or
in 1119 in the window.
think-
So we do see that. So
Well,
I agree with you. I know, Dago, you got to get to it. Let me add a counter
You're
to that.
fine.
I agree with you. That little
Yeah.
flash, and I highlighted it as well.
yeah,
The problem is that flash happens at the wrong time. She says
Right.
that happens around 4 a.m. That happened around
Right.
2 a.m. It's 2:30. So
right.
again,
right.
what part are you going to believe about the story? Because she said that happened at a completely different time. Okay, sorry, Dago.
that's all right. This whole conversation takes me back to a point that JJ made last week. Okay. He made a statement, and a lot of what JJ says sticks with me forever, as always. But he made a point, and he goes, how do we even know at this point that even the basics of the fucking case that we have been told are true, even remotely at this point? So knowing, I can't stop thinking about that because everything they gave us, the basics of this case, is what they told us, and we're supposed to believe it. Okay, so at that point, how do we know
Yeah.
any of this is true at all, other than the stuff
Right.
that we're seeing? Okay, that at that point we don't know any of it. And now, like I said earlier, we
Right.
I reviewed the interview with Kennedy Fitzgerald. She's changing if you listen to her and she's telling the truth, she completely changes the entire fucking timeline for Dylan and Bethany, and adds 3 or 4 more people to it.
Yeah.
So again, what's true and what's not?
And I gotta say, I see in the chat, I see some of the comments. There's no. I have a taser at work. All right, I use it. We have to qualify with it every year. A taser does not make a yellow flash.
No, it doesn't.
No.
It does
White
not.
and clicky.
No.
So you got
But I
to
did bring
get that
up-
out of your. You have to get that out of your mind. And if it makes we were talking about it the other night. If Bethany said that she heard basically, if you can't see it, if someone were, other than using a taser that has, so we have a taser that uses darts come out and they hit a person. But if there's no cartridge in it and you're doing what's called a dry stun, okay, the sound that it makes, what I said the other night, you can basically think of like you guys that have like a gas stove,
I
and
said
think
that
about when
earlier.
you're trying to turn on, you like maybe your stove is wet or whatever, or you cleaned it and you can't, it's trying to click on.
The
That
electric
sound,
start. Yeah.
that clicking sound, that's what a taser sounds like. It
Yeah.
doesn't sound like a gunshot. It doesn't make a yellow or a red spark. It
It's
does make a
white.
spark. It makes a
It's
spark,
white.
but right, it's
Yeah.
white, and it sounds like someone trying to turn on a stove. That's what it sounds like.
It sounds exactly, I mean, identical like the electric start on a gas stove, 100%.
Yeah.
Somebody, Amanda was sending to me a conversation going on in the back that somebody was saying, please tell them about the bruise that was on Xana's buttocks. I think we did talk about that.
We
talked
just
about that
talked
earlier.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that
Yeah.
earlier. Thank you, Amanda. A laser gun? What laser gun? Where?
I wish I had a laser gun.
I'd love to see a real life laser gun.
The gun.
I wanted to
think
see
he
those
means
for
taser.
years. Taser, yeah. I've had two different types of tasers. I have the one that has the two prongs that stick up. And then it has the little button on the side and it does the whole clicky noise with the white spark.
Yeah.
And I had an actual somebody had gotten me, it's the same thing the police use that has the prongs on it that eject from the gun, which is pretty wild. And that's a little different, but and you
Yeah.
guys, the ones you guys use for the police, that's what they use, right? With the ejectable.
We use taser. What is it? Taser 7 and
They
taser
have the
6. We're actually in the
prongs.
process. We're actually in the process of going to taser 10, and taser 10. There's actually 10. It shoots individual darts and
Right.
It has 10. It has 10 darts in it.
Oh wow.
But,
They can hit.
we were
It's
talking.
crazy.
We were talking about, again, the difference between a stun gun that shoots tasers out on a wire or whatever versus those handheld, like Dago's talking about, that it has the
That's
two
a
things,
stun
a
gun.
spark.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so when people hear stun gun, a lot of times we have to clarify. We're talking about the handheld.
That's a stun.
You push it against somebody and stun somebody.
The other one is a taser. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
The one
Taser and a
one's
stun
talking
gun,
about
right.
is a taser, and what Lee said is a stun. Right.
Right.
Photon torpedoes. Photon probes.
All right,
Good
let's
stuff. Good
let's
stuff.
take any last questions from the group. It's been a great discussion about this. I almost feel bad about using the AI generated stuff because I don't know how accurate it was. And again, I don't want to put.
Yeah.
I certainly
think it
don't want
was
to put
pretty
things in
close.
people's head that
Right.
didn't exist.
I'm honestly, I was looking at like the document stuff.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty spot on, Lee. Even to the point where, like, when they showed Xana, the up here on top of her head, and then so on and so forth. And if I remember when I saw that photograph too, it was spot on with that. So I don't think there was any mistakes. Now that that bruise has been proven on the back of her, I think that was the only thing we questioned. So.
Well, the other thing that I remember we questioned is whether or not Maddie had stab wounds or any kind of cuts on her back.
Yeah.
Right. Was she laying in bed and got it while she was laying in bed and never rolled over, or did she have wounds on her back? So
I'll have to look back into that part of it again, because I swear last night I talked about that somehow, but I don't know what I may have missed up.
Oh, I'm getting rage from crunching ice on the microphone. I realize I have a really good microphone, and when I crunch ice, it's probably
I usually
annoying.
get cussed out for that too.
Yeah, shit. I'm sorry. I'll try to do better. I get it.
I still think it's a good idea though, with the diagrams, with what you did tonight, what Logan was doing, because this is the biggest problem we've had, you guys, is not being able to visualize. And that's all I've asked for is these. I don't want to see the bodies. I don't need to see the actuality of the wounds on the bodies. It's just a damn diagram pointing to the injury so that we can visualize this and realize what's what. That's all.
Yeah.
Right. I agree.
Because that's the only way to get true answers.
Yeah.
Right. And
And
look at how
I
many things with just these being put out that we were able to
Yes,
disprove or you know
Yeah.
put to rest.
absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. All right. Any last minute questions, comments for the panelists that are on stage?
No, I think it was a great show tonight. We started off a little slow, and we're full staff now. I appreciate everybody joining us, and I'm glad everything worked out okay, Robin. It's great to have you up here.
Yeah.
Yep.
A great show. It was a great conversation the whole time, and welcome back
And
again, Lee.
and for the thank you. And for those who wanted to know why State of the Deep is not on screen, somebody said, "Are you in trouble? Why are you not on screen?" I think we sent him the link. I hope we sent him the link. But if
CIA
Yes.
not,
training.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
yeah.
He's
So
in CIA. He's deep undercover. Yeah.
yeah. So no,
Yeah.
JJ's not in trouble. He's just
CIA training.
all right. Well, yeah. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and no, we're not gonna give you JJ's public service message that he likes to put out because he's not here.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Anyway, so thank you all for coming tonight. It's a difficult thing. I feel like part of the reason why we slow played into this is I wanted to give people time to check out if they didn't want
Yeah.
to talk about autopsy, stuff like that. I hope, as I said on my video today that I did the autopsy breakdown, I hope to God the families don't watch this. There's no reason for them to. They've already seen everything, I'm sure. So they don't need to hear our opinions about it. So we didn't make it for them. We made it for the rest of us who keep having all of these rumors that get asked to us all the time. Well, didn't you how do you explain, DA, that he was taken out in multiple body bags? Those kind of shit I have to deal with all the time. And the only way to deal with it is to have the receipts to say, look, here's the medical examiner's report. He didn't come in 2 body bags. So that we can stop saying that happened. You show me where he came out in 2 body bags and I'll change it. But that's medical examiner didn't say that. So
That's it. To add to
Yeah.
that, I was just going to say, guys, please, for the sake of the dignity and integrity of the victims, when you hear these rumors or you see these things being said, just think about it before you repeat it and look into it before you repeat it, because in my opinion, it's very disrespectful to the victims because there's so many horrible. Lee was just touching on the surface of the horrible things that we were hearing and have seen and tried to dispel.
Right.
I mean, it's just
exactly.
it's been ridiculously horrendous, guys. It's sad. So
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's one thing when we don't have we don't have the documents and stuff and people
Right.
theorizing, and I get it, but once we have the actual what it is, that's
Yes.
it. It's over. Like stop the nonsense.
yeah.
amen to
Yeah,
that one.
and the last thing I want to say, like I see this Leah stories says the parents would probably be challenged by the autopsies, and they would be pleased that we are debunking the rumors. I would.
They should
I
be.
wish that was the case. Like, because we're saying, stop the fucking rumors that Kaylee was pregnant. Stop the fucking rumors that Ethan's privates were cut off, and they should appreciate that we're clarifying and shutting down some of those things and whatever. But I have a feeling most of the families do not give a shit what they rather just not us talk about it. But I don't know.
Until you see the comment that I posted at the very beginning of the show when somebody said, "Is this amazing foundation going to allow you to test the hair?" And the answer was, "Well, if it was true, I sure would." But
with all due respect.
With all due
fuck off.
respect, go fuck off. And I was like,
Yeah,
wow. Okay, then. So that's the problem right there.
Yeah, she just flat out has decided how it happened. Again, even in the article where Chrissy says she would like to talk to Bryan Kohberger, it's not tell me what happened. It's tell me why you did this to my daughter. Her question isn't tell me what happened that night. It's you tell me why you did this. That's
what's in what's in the article, but I guarantee if she was able to talk to him, she would definitely ask what happened. I don't see how she wouldn't. Yeah.
But the way she worded it in the article, at least the way it's worded in the article, all she wants him to do is tell her why he did what he did. Here's what you did. Now tell me why you did it. I don't want to hear you say anything other than why did you do all the things that we know you did, and don't tell me that you didn't do it, because all I want you to tell me is why you did it.
Yep.
But
yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for us, guys. We'll be back again tomorrow night. At least some of us will, not everybody, but we'll every night the panel could change. It's part of the nature of the panel as we assemble it when whoever's available in the night and we go for it. And I will try to have some more content coming out. I'm going to try to produce more videos on my main channel. I also have an alternate channel where I'm going to start talking a bit about other things like, the beyond stuff, including the Vegas shooting, which came up at CrimeCon and got me reinvigorated in the Vegas shooting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So that's it, people. Thank you for coming. Have a great night, everyone.
Take care, everybody.
All right, take care.
Have a great night.